All right. Welcome to the very first ever. Welcome to the very first ever FGC podcast. It's me with our co-host Ponteronten, Juste Meta Gaming TV plus Ponteronten, here to talk to you guys on this lovely Sunday morning. Pont, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. I've enjoyed some good weekends. It's all good. How about you?
Nice. Everything was great. Yesterday was my birthday. We did a really good Mortal Kombat 11 tournament. As you know, like we had I think like 30, 40 entrants for that. So yeah,
Oh yeah.
that was pretty crazy. Kind of reminded me why I don't play that game anymore though. But way too much BS in that tournament. I was considering playing it, and then like there was a guy he kind of like got carried by like top one character all the way to like top three. It was pretty
Oh man.
bad. Like he was literally playing like so bad the whole night, and he made top three and beat like so many better players. Like it was ridiculous. So yeah,
Right.
I was like, yeah, that just totally reminded me why I stopped playing MK. that
A
completely
tournament.
reminded me.
Maybe it's a really good idea to still have these tournaments so that you can remind yourself. You're just like, wait, why did I stop playing? Oh yeah, that's the reason.
You see, now I'm starting to understand the more I get into the FGC how the nostalgia glasses kick in, right? Because
Absolutely.
like I was actually starting to have nostalgia glasses for MK because I have like 3,000 hours in that game. So I started having nostalgia glasses. Like, man, my Jax was popping. I kind of miss scooping people. I
Oh
kind
yeah.
of I kind of miss wave dashing. Jax is kind of like a mix of Potemkin and Leo, actually from Guilty
Oh
Gear.
man.
Yeah, so
Mixed.
imagine like Leo's like fucking back turn stance where he's like dashing at you, but he's not
Yeah.
back. But Jax is not back turn. And then imagine like Kara cancel, dash cancel, command grabs. Like Jax has those like dash cancel command grabs.
Bam.
So yeah, it's broke. It's kind of broke, but he loses the zoning really hard. So that's the only
Oh
thing.
yeah. Oh
Like,
yeah.
but but yeah, I started having nostalgia glasses. Everyone was telling you like, "Oh man, I miss watching you watch people with Jax and stuff."
Uh,
And then I watched that tournament, and I was like, thank you for reminding me."
People wanted to see Jack's gameplay. Here you go. Do
Yeah,
watch the tournament.
yeah. I was like, "No, I'm good. I'm good." Anyway, we got a lot of news for you. Ponteronten and myself picked out some very interesting topics that came out this week for the FGC. So we got some stuff about Virtua Fighter, and I don't know if you guys know, but I've been having some convos with Juicebox. I don't know, you know who Juicebox is, right?
Oh
Ponteron.
yeah.
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 So I've been talking with Juicebox quite a bit these last few days because apparently he has been grinding Virtua Fighter for the last like year.
Bam.
Um, when he heard that they were remaking it, so he started getting into it, and apparently he said this game is like way better than Tekken. Uh, he literally broke down all the tech for me on his stream last couple days, and I have to say that um, a part of the reason why I decided not to pick up Tekken is I feel like it's number one. I feel like it's unnecessarily complicated. Like I don't mind complex because I'm playing Guilty Gear now, obviously.
Mhm.
So I don't mind complexity, but I want it to be like real complexity. Like
Oh yeah.
like real tech, not just like, oh, you have to learn the frame data of 200 moves per character to be able to stand a chance in rank and block hell sweep.
Oh yeah.
like,
Oh yeah.
like it's kind of like, nah, man, that's not real complexity. It's just a whole bunch of moves that I gotta learn. That's
Yeah.
that's whack.
So the type of complexity you're looking for is more of it adds more depth, so to
Yes.
say, rather than just like you have to remember all of these variables, which Tekken goes for, where it's just like quantity over quality, meaning that you want more the complexity of a depth,
Yeah,
meaning
it's
that
like
it
Street
has more
Fighter, right? Like
quality.
Street Fighter
Yeah.
has very simple mechanics. Like you got your mid, you got your medium button, which is your spacing button, your heavy button, which is your crush counter button, and your light button, which is your quick confirm button. But and then you got like staple jump arcs where they always jump in the same arc, no matter what.
Mhm.
But within these like very simple rules, there's like a lot of depth because it's like, okay, if they double dash, are they double dashing in the throw? Are they dashing in the jump? Are they dashing in? It's like I kind of like that kind of thing. Like
Oh yeah.
where the complexity is like where the move set is simple, but in that simple move set, it creates like a whole lot of options.
Oh
You know
yeah.
what I mean? So apparently, Juicebox basically explained that's literally Virtual Fighter
Oh damn.
at a high level. He said at a high level, that's essentially Virtua Fighter. He said there is no time in which you're playing Virtua Fighter in any interaction where you don't have a minimum of 3 options.
Oh,
Yeah, so he said like on block you have 3 options, on hit you have 3 options, on knockdown you have 3 options. On he said there's always an option, there's always a read to be made. He said it's essentially like a constant rock paper scissors with every interaction, with every situation. Right. There's a lot of detailed tech that he went over that would take us hours to go over because it took him many hours to. I literally watched a stream for like 8. I would say a total of 8 hours, like 4 hours one day and 4 hours another day, where he just broke down so much tech. Apparently, Virtua Fighter is mad like complex. I had no idea. I played Virtua Fighter as a kid on PS1, and I had no idea it was that complex. Like I was just smashing. But
it was one of those games where you saw and you just like, these two characters fighting each other. Let's just mash and see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. Like I never knew that it was legit. Like, and it's a 3-button fighter, by the way. Mm-hmm. It's a 3-button fighter, so they don't have any weird and also like the thing that I don't like about Tekken, it took me a week to learn how to do Korean backdash. I didn't like the fact that movement, I had to learn this really hard thing just to be able to move basically in the game. As for Tekken, I did learn it, but I know how to do it now. But it's kind of like, why? Like it's like why? Like Virtua Fighter on the other hand has Mortal Kombat style block dashing, which is much easier. So basically dash block, and you can cancel the dash with a guard. You can and then it has a punch and a kick button, and that's basically it. Yeah. But within those 3 buttons, there is so much that goes down. Apparently, so just a brief explanation of one thing that Juicebox told me about, and I might get it wrong. Apparently, if you are -6, so like if you do something and the opponent blocks it and you put yourself -6, the opponent has the opportunity to grab you or strike. Now, if you think the opponent is going to grab you, you can hit them out of the grab attempt, right?
Yeah.
But if you don't do anything and you just block, you're going to get grabbed 100%, right? But see, now that's the 50-50, right? The 50-50 is if the opponent recognizes that they're in a plus situation, they can they get a 50-50 throw strike, guaranteed. But like I said, you have options to deal with that. Now, another thing that he said to beat that, another option that you have to beat that 50-50 is apparently crouch dashing. So basically, you can dash from crouch, and then that makes you slightly less minus. So like you do your string, and then you finish it with a crouch dash, and then because you're crouching, they can't grab you.
Oh.
But it puts you in a counter hit state if they decide to strike.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's kind of like the way he explained it to me, I was just like, bro, this game sounds so good.
It sounds complicated, and you're being to yourself like, yeah, this is gonna work, and then you realize that, oh, I forgot that small detail. It kind of reminds me like actual martial arts, so exactly. To say. It's like, here's how you can do this grab, for instance, or something. It's mostly the idea is like, if he does this, you can either do this or that, or maybe this third thing as well. But it's very risky, so be careful.
Exactly. Stopping by the show supports this podcast. Appreciate it. My wife is our first chatter on our podcast, guys.
Awesome stuff.
Nice.
Great stuff.
So he also said it is very faithful to martial arts. Unlike Tekken, where they kind of take some liberties. I think Lydia is probably like one of the truest like martial arts characters in Tekken, which kind of attracted me to her. Like I almost was about to pick up Tekken for who is the co-host? It is Ponteronten. He's been co-hosting the Guilty Gear tournaments with me for a while now. So
hello.
There you go. But yeah, it seems like Virtua Fighter is like legit karate, like legit martial arts, legit judo, like that's kind of like the inspiration for it. So we have some articles and some videos and some footage here that we can pull up. So you want to talk about what is this Event Hub's article? Something Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdowns, new graphics are worse than Final Showdowns. But what does the comparison show?
So it was basically the article that I found about Virtua Fighter. I've decided to use that article as well to talk about Virtua Fighter 5 as well, because apparently they have updated the game's graphical engine to the Dragon engine, which has been used internally by Sega. This was the same game engine that they used to make the latest Yakuza games, Hence the reason they have also upgraded the graphics for all the characters as well. So if you wanted to look into that article, you can actually see where they
Yeah, I
compare.
actually have it pulled up right now. Yeah, the graphics are definitely improved. I
Oh
don't know
yeah.
how people could say that they think it's worse. Like it's. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, because I was watching Juicebox play the old version, and it doesn't look nearly as good as what I saw on Maximilian's stream. You know,
Absolutely.
and I do have to say that it doesn't look that good, but I mean, it looks good. I would say the updated version looks like a 2019 game, I guess.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't. It definitely doesn't look like a PS5 game. It doesn't look like it doesn't look like super duper good, but it looks good enough. You know,
Absolutely.
it looks good enough. It's not bad to definitely say the least. It looks a
That's
lot
true.
better than
Absolutely.
what it used to look like. But
Absolutely.
I also have some like actual HD footage from Maximilian here as well. So let me fast forward, and yeah, on the PlayStation 5, it does look great. Not gonna lie. On the PS5, it looks like super good. You know,
Oh yeah.
in 4K, it looks good. But you know, I'm just a PS4 peasant over here. So,
Oh yeah.
but so just to let you guys know about Virtua Fighter, apparently John Cujo, he's like new and he's also kind of busted. And I
Oh.
think from what I heard, Juicebox he said that Jackie was also like top one in this game. So when you guys play it tomorrow when it comes out on PS Plus, just know that I heard that Jackie is like top one apparently.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you can tell like from the gameplay graphics right now, is that it shows like this was like early PlayStation 4, late PS3, so to say
Hmm.
level. It was still like it still looks good.
Yeah, I mean, from what I heard, they actually redid the entire game from the ground up. Surprising that they decided not to put rollback in it though. Like that,
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
was,
if they took the effort to redo everything, they could have. But from what I did hear, their Virtua Fighter may not need rollback. Maybe there's a thing about Virtua Fighter where they basically talk about the fact that you have 10 frames of buffer on everything. So you basically can play up to 10 delay,
oh,
because you could buffer 10 frames in advance, everything.
oh, right, right.
So according to what people I've talked to a few people who have what is this game? Sorry, you stepped out for a minute. This is a Virtua Fighter 5 actually. Um but yeah, so basically you can buffer you can buffer up to 10 frames.
Oh
So
yeah.
from what people who said that they played it, they said that they were able to play all across the U.S., continental U.S., Canada, whatever, no problem. No. They were able to have like very competitive matches. They never had an issue online. And this was the
Mm.
old Virtual Fighter, by the way, not even a remake. So
Oh,
you know, it's very possible that this might be playable. You know, I mean, Tekken
absolutely.
also has like delay base as well, but this might be playable.
Oh yeah.
you know.
Very interesting to see nonetheless. I also noticed like gameplay timer is just like 30 seconds, so that means that he's gonna make the matches really quick because he can go up to like just 90 seconds until like the whole match is over between an opponent. So it won't make the whole experience terrible if you have like this crappy net connection with someone.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, of course there will be bad connections, but
Yeah,
if everyone is wired, if everyone is wired, then it should be fine. It shouldn't be an issue.
absolutely.
You know. So I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of excited for Virtual Fighter. You guys know that I like to throw tournaments for games that I like. And I've been trying to get into a 3D fighter. A lot of people have been trying to get me into Tekken, and to be honest, I just couldn't. I just was not interested. But this game looks very interesting to me. I definitely hope there's a future in it because it seems like a legitimately high level competitive fighter. Like I said, there's so many options. There's so many reads that you can make. There's also wake up attacks and a lot of different wake ups, but they can be baited. And Juicebox did a very good job. If you guys, and I would definitely advise you guys go follow Juicebox FGC on Twitch. He plays Virtual Fighter every day. He's playing Virtual Fighter right now as we speak. doing Q&As, labbing, teaching the community how to play the game. He's doing a very good job at selling. He sold me on the game, so he made me. I was not excited, and just to say I was not excited for this game. I was not interested, not looking forward to it. He sold me on this game quite hard, and now we might be doing a Virtua Fighter EU League soon on PlayStation, and I did hear that this game is coming to PC, so that would be even better. We're gonna get even better graphics on PC, even better performance. So there you go.
A good time to be had, I would say.
Yeah, good times. Good times in 2021 for the FGC. So there you go.
Mm-hmm.
What's the next topic? So our next topic is I kind of want to talk about what was the order we said we were going to talk about stuff.
We had one first that started with LordKnight's video from his VOD.
Oh yeah. Let's definitely talk about that. Okay, so so LordKnight fucked around and came out with a video basically proving that the whole FGC is capping about Strive. The whole FGC is capping extra hard.
History is repeating itself, so to say. But it's a kind of an interesting way to see it, because when it's actually something that so what happened was that LordKnight walked back into a video that was like, what, 9 years old?
Like more like 10, 11.
11 even.
More like 12. Like it was like 2008. Yeah, it was like it was way older than that. But anyway, continue.
So he was talking about this small seminar, or what was it, like a questionnaire, a Q&A, so to say, with the developer of BlazBlue, where one of the players...
Daisuke was there. Yeah, Daisuke was there. You remember, ArcSys was a small company back in the day. They were small, literally. Like now they do these huge like announcements and stuff, but they had like the super small seminar. It was like literally like 20, 30 people in the room.
Absolutely. And it was quite fascinating to hear that, because it actually was something like, hold up, we're currently experiencing this right now. What happened was that a player named Buzzsaw, I think it was, or Buzzkill, I think.
Buzzsaw, I think it was Buzzsaw.
Oh, yeah, Buzzsaw. He actually came up onto the microphone and he asked, hey, it was regarding like BlazBlue.
The quote is, "So I was wondering why BlazBlue is so new friendly." I just pulled it up on the screen just now.
Yeah, exactly. And that's when things actually start escalating, so to say, just like going back and forth with each other. And you can see from the video that Buzzsaw actually looks towards the camera and gives this really shit-eating grin on his face.
Yeah, and he really thought that he's like, "Oh, got him."
But
they kind of got him in the end, though. They kind of got him. So they definitely sunned him a little bit.
Exactly. And it was quite fast. It was interesting to see that, because it kind of reminds us back to say like, oh, you want like to be like the old games, like the Hokuto no Ken fighting game, which is so complex and really stupid.
Actually, he did say it should be like, I like your H&K game, and I like and I think you're about to see the quote here on stream that Mori said that Daisuke basically told him to say in Japanese, and then he translated. He said, "So you want the game to be complicated so you and your 5 friends can play it?" He said, we're a game company, bro. We need to make money so we can make more games, and we need more people to play our games, like that's. And as much as I talk smack about NRS and Mortal Kombat and Justice, they do that very well. That is something that they do very well. They understand that high-level players will always figure out a way around the scrub stuff, which is our job to do, if we really want to be good at the game. That is our job. But at the same time, I kind of feel like, it's fine to also put new mechanics in the game. I'm not opposed to it. I just think that some companies do it better than others, and I think ArcSys kind of does this really well. Like, I hear a lot of people complain about Super Dash and Dragon Ball FighterZ.
Oh, yeah.
But I think Super Dash is fine. I've commentated a lot of Dragon Ball Fighter tournaments, and I feel like Super Dash is fine. You know why Super Dash is fine? Because they made it so that you can down heavy. You can do 2H.
Oh.
Easy.
Yeah.
Full combo.
Damn.
TOD. You can literally kill someone off of down heavying a Super Dash. Like, it's if someone's super dashing at you all the time, just either block it or just backdash down heavy, easy clap.
Easy clap.
NRS on the other hand, they kind of make mechanics that are just as like that take like the godliest of reads to counter. Like it literally like I think Sonic Fox like got cheers from the Twitch chat for beating the Shiva Stomp before it got nerfed because it literally takes god level reads to beat that move. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
But for the most part, from what I've seen, Arxis has consistently been very good at balancing entry level versus high level mechanics.
Oh, yeah.
Like even Grand Blue, like the fact that they had the easy inputs, I really like that actually. I like the fact that you can you have cooldowns on your specials, and if you do the actual input, you have no cooldown. But if you do
Oh,
the
yeah.
easy input, you have like a 2 second cooldown. I think that's
That's
great.
very clever. I think that's really clever because it reminds me of Rising Thunder, Rest in Pieces, and I like that sort of thing that you can invite more players into it because then it's just like you're getting rid of some of the complexity, but you still have some of the parts, meaning that it goes into the type of way that Sakurai did it with Terry, for instance, in Smash Brothers, whereas you can do just press just the B button and he will do like average damage on that special attack. But if you do the input, directional input, for instance, then it will deal more damage.
Yep.
And that's something that is something that you want to reward your players with.
Exactly. And it
Instead of
provides
being
an incentive for players to get better. It gives them a way to get into the game. And then it provides an incentive for them to take the time to learn the real input, which is something I definitely think fighting games should do. And I think Strive does this really well as well. And this whole video is actually about Strive, this LordKnight video. I would definitely advise you guys to watch it. I'm going to put the link to it in the chat for you guys to check it out if you haven't watched it, the LordKnight video. But he makes a lot of really good points in this video. But one of the points is that one of the points that Mori, who is the head designer for BlazBlue, and Daisuke made in this video in the old clip from like 12, 13 years ago, is that, getting new people in the game, new people become eventually intermediate, become advanced.
Yeah.
Like, as much as I talk smack about Mortal Kombat and how much I hate it now, if it wasn't for Mortal Kombat, I wouldn't be playing fighting games. It was easy enough for me to understand. It helped me understand how to play the game. It helped me understand like inputs and reversals and buffering on block reversals. Like, it makes it easy to do all of those fighting game things, right?
Absolutely.
And if it wasn't for Mortal Kombat, like, I don't know, like, because I found Street Fighter, like, I used to play Street Fighter as a kid, but like learning like the real inputs and learning like real fighting games is kind of intimidating when you've never played before,
Absolutely.
So I mean, once you're like a fighting game nerd, yes, you're gonna want like hard fighting games, right? Like you want your like me talking about Virtua Fighter. Like, now I want to play like hard, super hard games like Guilty Gear and Virtua Fighter. But I mean, when you're new and you're just like a casual gamer who play like Final Fantasy 7 and stuff like that, like you're not gonna. It seems so intimidating when you see people do all these crazy combos and all these like reversals and timing based stuff. It's really intimidating,
Absolutely. And that's really a good thing that they're doing with Strive as well. It's just like it might just go the same thing as Mori and the others answered during the panel. They would say like we just want to get a good entry to everyone to adjust and understand the system, and then we can make things more complex and have more depth. But until then, let's start with the baby steps. Even if it took you like a weekend to understand everything with every character, then hooray for you. But this is the part where you just say, okay, these things work, these things does not. These things we can make more complicated, these things we can have more depth into.
Well,
Therefore, we can make the game even better.
let's talk about Strive, right? Because in this video, by the way, this guy says that BlazBlue is the Street Fighter 4 of Arxis games. Now, at that time, that was considered an insult because Street Fighter 4 was new. And that basically, Street Fighter 4 was the Guilty Gear Strive of 2008 and 2009, from what I understand. Around that time, I was, working and stuff like that, so I wasn't really gaming, so I wasn't like in the FGC at that time. But from what I do understand, that was the time where a whole bunch of new players got into Street Fighter 4. And even Majin Obama had a video about this, where Majin Obama said a bunch of FGC boomers when Street Fighter 4 came out said, "Oh, Street Fighter 4, that's a mash game. That's a mash game," because apparently the reversal window was really large on
Oh,
block. So you could basically block something and then buffer a reversal, and then it would come out on frame one after block's done. So basically, but as all those new players kept playing Street Fighter 4, the depth and the complexity started to increase, and now Street Fighter 4 is known as a super hard fighting game, right?
absolutely.
But at the time that it came out, people said that it was not my Street Fighter. Same exact argument that people are making with Stride, by the way. Not my Street Fighter. This is nothing like Third Strike. There's no complexity here. It's just people mashing this and mashing that, and yada yada yada, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
LordKnight said he was around in that time, and he said, now we all talk about Street Fighter 4 like it's the best game of all time, right?
absolutely.
Because we found out that there were depth in the mechanics. And this relates to Strive, where when I was playing the beta myself, I didn't really lab anything, but I kind of tried out things in matches, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
one thing I definitely learned, and one thing I definitely saw, is that the RC system is the skill gap,
Oh, yeah.
110%. How you use meter, they even tell you when I looked at my replays and my stats. It gives you your stats and replays. It tells you how much meter you gained versus how much meter you use, and how
Mhm.
you use your meter. You know,
Absolutely. Yeah,
the meter usage is the skill gap in Strive, because
yeah.
when you have a game where one hit does like 25%, you know, like RAM. And now once I realized, like, oh, RC meter is how you differentiate yourself from
Absolutely.
in skill. Now it explains why RAM is so busted, because RAM is busted in the sense where she gets single hit. She can basically throw out far slash, cover a lot of the screen. A good player will know how to get around that, use meter, and use their meter to beat her. You know?
Absolutely.
Um,
I can agree with that, what you said with RC being a first stopgap to see like how good you are at the game. Because if you look at, for the majority of matches I did, at least during the Stripe beta last time, it was that those that did not use RC, they either relied on one particular special attack,
mhm.
or they just mashed like crazy. And then
Or
it's just
jumped a
like, well,
lot.
I lost because, yeah, they jumped a lot. They tried to approach from above, and then many new Andre players did this. They just hopped into the air and then dashed forward and tried to do an overhead attack.
Hmm.
What When I realized that, it was just like, okay, you're gonna do that, aren't you? And then I just took it a habit just to do a 6P with Faust constantly. It's just like, you're gonna jump and dash in again, aren't you?
Well, I'm also
And
glad
then,
that they buffed 6Ps and Strive as well, because I was able to anti-air all of that shit. So
yeah,
that was my issue with the first beta, that made RAM even stronger
yeah,
than she was, is that it was very difficult to anti-air in the first beta. But the second beta, I was able to anti-air just about everything.
yeah,
On reaction, my 6P felt like a 6P, from the previous Guilty Gear games. I also like the fact that they added the landing recovery, so you can't just air dash and then go into a string.
yeah,
Like if you want to
yeah,
if you want to do like a jump in, if you want your jump into jail, you have to do a deep jump in.
absolutely.
And then if I let you do that, then you get a string. So that's something that I like. But going back to the point of new game bad, old game
Yeah,
good. LordKnight even said that he was around when Rev 2 came out. He was playing Guilty Gear XX Reload. He said he played Reload plus R. He said when plus R came to replace Reload, people said that was garbage. Now
yeah.
everyone's saying plus R is the god game. You know, and then, and then,
They
and then,
they picked up Cliff. That was that they picked up Cliff and Justice. That was the reason why they stopped saying this game's bad. It's just like, oh, never mind.
yeah, exactly. And then for example, Rev 2 came out after that, and people said Rev 2 not my Guilty Gear. They
Yeah.
messed up RCs. Now anyone can do RCs. This is some scrub shit. And now we know once. And Margin Obama said the same thing in a previous video as well. He said when Rev 2 came out, people said that that's not my Guilty Gear shit game. Oh, you could stop time with RC. That's ass. Now anyone can just RC. RC is supposed to be hard. But now we know Rev 2 is super high level competitively.
Absolutely.
You know? Like Rev 2 is like super good at a high level competitive. You know?
Yeah. When you look at the YRC, whether that it stops time, then it's just like that's a good thing to inspire to get more aggressive and trying to find an opening better, so it doesn't become like this block string symphony. So to say like, now I do my block string. Oh, I got plus. I will block because you're gonna do your block string.
Well,
and then
if anyone watches me play Kai and plus R, you know that it's my turn for legit like 30 seconds. Like 30 seconds, it's like, oh, you blocked that, plus 15, GG's. Oh, you blocked that, plus 8. Oh, you blocked that, plus 4. Oh, you blocked that, plus 15 again. We start the loop again.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I got meter. Let me do grease over RC. Still my turn. I'm plus. GG's.
Oh, look, I got a full RC. Oh, well, I got my full tension meter. Oh no, you spammed so many specials that I have to like Pontless defense all that stuff, and now I have nothing. Thanks, Daisuke.
Exactly. And Strive, I feel like Strive is kind of like that, except, you know, the interactions are shorter. So, like, I noticed with Kai as well, like, RC block pressure with Kai is extremely strong in Strive. I don't know if you remember when we were playing, but I would do that a lot. Where, if I had meter, I would get in, push you to the corner, and then I would RC, and then I would do, like, another mix-up. And then I would try to keep the corner, you know, if you didn't get opened up. Then I would back up and then try to keep the corner. Like that's really strong. If you have blue and one thing a lot of people don't seem to understand is that blue. I've seen a lot of people do red RC, but no one really utilized purple and blue RC or yellow RC actually. Like yellow RC is the dead angle. You can make yourself plus. On block from holding a block string, you can make yourself plus, which is good. Blue RC, you can make yourself plus in neutral, which basically blue RC is kind of like the neutral YRC from Rev 2. It kind of serves the same function.
Exactly, and it makes they mixed around a few things, but YRC, the yellow YRC, the yellow Roman cancel is like become the dead angle, for instance. The blue one is mostly just like, okay, I want to initiate something here, so we're neutral. Fuck it, blue, go in, trying to get an opening.
Yeah, exactly.
And then red, or like I gotta hit.
Like one of the best ways I've seen is like if you FD, let's say you have like 100 meter, right? If you FD them out, the second they come out and they whiff their button, you blue RC.
Yeah.
And then you whiff punish. Exactly. Like that's something I did quite a bit in the beta. Is so now FDing is actually very interesting because if you FD and then you blue YRC, you can literally run up and whiff punish them while they're still in recovery from whatever button it is. You know, PRC as well is really good because that's basically red RC is canceling, I think, during the active frames, and PRC is canceling during the recovery of a move. I think you actually get combos from that. Like I showed on stream the other day that Amelia player did a PRC and then was able to pick up a stray hit into a whole combo. Yeah, like a whole ass combo that literally won him the game and killed me.
Yeah.
You know, and broke the wall and everything. So,
yeah,
you know, for people to say that there's no def in Guilty Gear, that there's no combos, there's no sauce, like Guilty Gear Strive has a lot of sauce. Like
I would say that as well, because when we have like these very basic things, I think like we have to learn and understand them, and then we can learn and complicate it more. Right now, it's mostly like playing an instrument. Like, should you immediately go and play this very powerful symphony because you wanted to learn to play a brass instrument, or should you like start with the basics first and then just be able to play a few simple songs and then be able to pull them off more expressively and better? Then you can move on to the more complicated stuff. I think that's really what Strive is aiming for do. They actually just want to give you this very basic yet complicated system. However, they want to start easy with you and then build upon it. Therefore, they might do a Revelator type of stuff with Strive down the line.
Exactly.
So
keep building on it, definitely.
Yeah.
And also there's another video that Roofamonger made right here that I'm gonna put on the screen right now. Don't worry, Vermeers, you can keep chatting. I'm actually reading your chats, Vermeers. Don't worry about it. I'm agreeing with you. I'm reading your chat. Ramirez feels like he's talking to himself over here. Um, so there was
You're
an
aware.
interview. So apparently there's
Yeah.
an interview from ArcSys. Apparently the publication died in the days that it took this interview to happen, but they still published the interview anyway.
Nice.
Rufumonger published a video about this interview where they basically said that because of COVID, they actually had to cut content from the game. They actually
Oh
plan
yeah.
to have way more modes. So apparently Strive is supposed to have like they said that in a couple of months after release they're gonna work on these extra modes. So apparently they said the 2v2 thing that they announced that was actually supposed to be like a legit competitive mode.
Oh yeah.
Um, they said it's just going to be in arcades right now, but once they get past all the other stuff they're going to do, they're going to bring it in as like an actual 2v2 mode
Oh yeah.
in Guilty Gear. So that would be sick, like a tag team mode. Now
That would be really cool.
that would be godlike. Like this, I could
Yeah.
definitely see this game being 2v2. It might even be better than a 1v1, honestly.
We'll see what will happen. Maybe something can actually be added in with the tag in tag out system where they can continue on from the last person's combo. And that would be really cool to see.
Yeah, that would be kind of crazy. Also, they said there's a lot of other modes that they were supposed to come out with as well that they're going to be working on. So basically, we're just going to get a lot of modes. They say they're planning a lot of content for this game. I mean, I believe ArcSys. Like I said, this is their Hail Mary. Like ArcSys has been trying to become a AAA developer for a long time. I mean, they've gotten the Dragon Ball FighterZ. I think was their most successful game so far.
Absolutely.
So I'm definitely sure that they're trying to get that kind of success for their flagship game or their main game, the game that created their company, which is Guilty Gear. Guilty Gear is never sold on that level, so I 100% trust ArcSys to come through with all of their promises because it only makes financial sense for them to do so.
Absolutely.
At this stage of where they're at, once they're rich as fuck, then maybe who knows.
I mean, they did get rich as fuck thanks to Dragon Ball Fighters. Like the moment everyone saw that trailer, it was like, "Oh, what's this? Oh, it's a new Dragon Ball game."
But see,
nice.
the problem is, it ain't their. That's not their game though.
Oh,
that's
exactly.
the only thing. If that had happened with Guilty Gear before, then I'd be like, "Yo, we need to wait and see." But because this is Guilty Gear, this is their game. Like this is their game. It needs to work. Because I mean, based on how Guilty Gear works, that ArcSys has a history of like doing licensed games. Like that's their bread and butter. But I'm pretty sure it's kind of like Ubisoft. I don't know if you know the history of Ubisoft, but Ubisoft was kind of like ArcSys, where they licensed. They did a bunch of license work to pay the bills for many years until they came out with like their own IP. And once their own IP failed, but they kept supporting it. To the point where now R6 has become one of the biggest esports. And for those who don't know, I was a pretty good R6 player. Got pretty high up in EU ESL, by the way. So yeah, back in the day. For any of my OG viewers out there who know. So long story short, Ubisoft kind of had the same trajectory where they went from kind of like small licensed developer to starting to make their own IPs, which flopped, but then they decided to support their IPs instead of just letting them die. So like Ubisoft has a habit of like dropping their games are ass, but then a year later they become like mad good, and then years later they have like hundreds of millions of fucking users because they just keep supporting it. They just keep coming out with content. So that seems to be their game plan, is basically just drop the product and just continuously update it,
Absolutely. It seems to be actually what many game developers are doing nowadays, as well as like they're selling a service that they will keep on working with. I remember that Rainbow Six Siege had a little rocky start at the start.
Oh, it had a terrible start.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it was terrible.
But still, Ubisoft still went with it. It's just like, hey, let's have more characters, let's have more things.
Let's rework the game. Levels. I mean, they reworked the game. They redo the balance on a regular basis, which is great for the health of the game. Like, the only reason why I stopped playing Siege is because, of the toxic racism issue that the community has. Like, it's really toxic. That's the only reason I stopped playing Siege. But I truly did love that game. Because there was always a balance patch. There was always new balance. There was always a rework. They're reworking maps. coming out with new maps. There's always something new going on with the game. Ubisoft, I always say, very good developers. They make sure that their games do well. Or
Yeah,
if they don't, and For Honor is another example. I did buy For
absolutely.
Honor when it came out, and it completely died. It was bad. The servers were bad. But now, from what I'm hearing, For Honor is one of the top like arena fighters out there now. Like
Oh yeah,
they have a huge fan base, now. Because
yeah.
same thing, they just kept supporting it. They fixed the servers, supported it, updated it, new content, balance
Results.
changes.
Yes,
Now,
it's amazing. Yeah,
yeah. So I feel like because ArcSys, they have a history with licensing, and like I said, the problem with licensing is that none of these are your games; they're not your IPs.
exactly.
So you need to make it with your own IP. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
At some
and
point.
that's yeah, exactly. So it's either like you make or break for it, or you can be like many more business suit type of developers or publishers, where it's just like release it. If it doesn't do well in the first 2 weeks, drop the whole thing
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
never speak of it again. But that is kind of the same thing about what you see in this game industry. Is
Hmm.
that if there's the developer is just like we're still gonna be working with it, we
Hmm.
have the economies to do it. Don't worry,
It could
and they
turn
still
out to
and they
be like
yeah
one of the best things ever. So I
exactly
personally think Strive will be like that, and I think that we
yeah
have nothing to fear. I think that we're going to get regular balance patches. I think that we're going to get regular content. ArcSys has never said something and then not done it.
exactly.
Also in their history, that's from what I know, that's never happened. So I'm super excited for Strive. New game
Yeah,
good, old game also good. All fighting
yeah,
games are good. All fighting games are bullshit as well.
yeah. Or it can be
So
also be look at this: old game good, new game bad for the moment.
for the moment.
Exactly. So that's how I would actually explain and say that. It's just like, yeah, it just got released, dude. We have to understand what we're going ourselves into,
I
because
agree.
it goes back to this whole thing about would you rather have a game that is extremely copy paste? It's just like new fancy graphics. That's it. Maybe a few
Madden,
new songs.
FIFA,
That's it.
Madden, FIFA,
Exactly.
like
Or would you like a fighting game that actually goes into new directions and tries something new?
hmm
I
I
would take the latter because that would make things more interesting and also give the reasons for me to just pick up a new fighting game.
and now let's talk about this, right? I know you
Mhm.
for those who've been watching my stream, you've been seeing me grind plus R lately. If Rev had rollback, I would be grinding that too. I like the fact that each Guilty Gear game is completely different.
Yeah,
You know? That's something that I really truly like. Is that when I play plus R, I know I'm playing plus R. And when
exactly.
I go on Rev, Kai is different. I mean, the core concepts are the same. Like, I want to get in, do my pressure, but the way you go about it, the way you play it is different. It's a different set of skills. And then when I go into Strive, the pressure and everything is different there as well. It's three different games, three different reasons to play. That's the
Yeah,
reason why I do 2, 3 Guilty Gear tournaments a week because they're literally different games.
yeah,
Just because they're Guilty Gear, they're literally completely different games. It would suck.
exactly.
Like no one will play Plus R if it played just like Rev.
Exactly.
You know,
And funny enough, Exert Sign is completely different from Revelator. And
really.
that's the reason, yeah, at certain parts,
Hmm.
because there were certain combos combo starters that actually can be built upon others. And also, the dust into the wall didn't cause this really good lockup where the camera would like span and do this angle change, and it would just be locking both players up. It was actually something you can build your combo on top of if you
Yep.
could.
All right.
So it was completely different from what we got in Rev 2, for instance. So it's kind of those type of things. It's just like they want to aim to make things more different as much as possible. That was the reason like Rev 2 wasn't called Rev Super Duper Shotgun Banana Slam or something like that. They just like called it's Revelator, but we've tweaked around a few things. Thus
Exactly.
Rev 2, which was like here, have this jackpot versions of those items, for instance,
Nice.
which changed a whole lot of things. And then also the YRC that stops time a little bit.
That's interesting. All right,
Yeah.
so we talked about Strive, and we went really in depth with Strive. You guys can
Oh
tell what
yeah.
our favorite game is.
Exactly.
So we talked about Virtua Fighter. We talked about Strive. I think we got to talk about the Tekken 7 news now.
Oh yeah. So this was from the event hubs, which they presented. It was called Tekken 7 has gone long enough. Katsuhiro Harada gets questioned on the future of the fighting game series. And this was, the article talks a little bit about Harada, the show Harada's Bar, where pro
Uh,
players comes into his bar and they ask certain questions to Harada while he's being the bartender, so to say, and makes nice drinks. And
I mean, we could
he
read
got
it
the,
real quick. Actually,
yeah, sure.
I can actually read it out. So it says,
Mm.
Tekken 7 managed to truly ring in a new era of competition that's continued to grow at a remarkable rate, which is now leaving the community at a bit of a crossroads. On the newest episode, wait, does he actually own a bar? For
Yes.
Rada's bar. Oh wow, that's it. Pro player Du Jin came out and asked the Tekken director the question that's been on every fan's mind for a while: what is the future of the series? On the topic of new ideas and characters for whatever he's working on now, Katsuhiro Harada, of course, laughs and says that's one question he can't answer, but still offers up a very interesting quote instead. I can't answer, but there's one thing I can say: Tekken 7 has gone on long enough. Oh, shit. If we were to take
And
that statement at face value, that certainly sounds like Bandai Namco is moving on from the game. That may not end up, though that may not end up being the case after all. Harada goes on to tell the story about Tekken 7 was originally planned to only receive 2 seasons of content. Sales were so strong, however, that they decided to keep asking the company to make more. Well, this has been going on for a very long time. Say Harada is really profitable even after the second year. Considering the development costs, the profit is massive. We recovered all of that development cost in the first 2 months of sales. So everything they've made this whole
yeah,
time is all profit.
exactly.
Yikes.
That's
Yikes,
really
bro.
impressive to hear that sort of news even from Harada himself, and he's basically very clear about the things he says. He seems very honest as well. I
This
mean,
man Harada out here driving
he goes out
Lambos.
in like interviews and says, "Don't ask me for shit," and even brings out a T-shirt that says it, just to say like, "I know you want this stuff, but stop asking me for it, for fuck's sake."
Exactly, exactly. Let me see. It's definitely easy to see that creating characters in an already established game system is way simpler and cheaper to make compared to something brand new, which fighting game and pretty much all developers have shifted towards the past console generation. The face of Tekken's dev team doesn't say whether he's asked Bandai Namco to make a season 5 for Tekken, but does pretty much imply that he could make it happen if that's what they wanted to do. If I asked the president if I could make the next one, he definitely couldn't say no to me, said Harada.
Yeah.
All right, so then they talk about like online events and stuff. So that's very interesting. So he said Tekken 7 has gone on long enough. I think Harada's capping. They're definitely going to
Oh
drop
yeah,
a season 5. That's a
I
fat
think
cap.
so too.
There is no
I think
reason
they're
for
gonna
him
do.
not to.
I think they're gonna do one more time and just being like, here are either crossover characters, and then they might actually try and add other characters from other franchises as well. Because I still feel like Namco and Sega should shake hands and say, hey, would you like
Virtua Fighter
to
collab.
have,
Yeah. Put
yeah, would you
Heihachi in
like
Virtua
the
Fighter. Put Akira in
exactly?
Tekken. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
could it could work as well because we did hear the news that SNK's was thinking about having a Guilty Gear character to Samurai Showdown.
Yeah, I mean,
So
I
that
know Guilty Gear has collaborated with
yeah,
Arxis has collaborated with a lot of people and put Guilty Gear characters in like a lot of different mobile games and stuff like that.
yeah.
Isn't that confirmed? I don't know if that's confirmed. I just made that up as I said it. I didn't know that that was like real. I didn't know that that was real news. Anyway, but yeah, so yeah. Long story short, I think this is a fat cap. Harada is known to just you know stoke the flames of hype.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly. I think it was a good thing that he actually answered that in that way, saying it's just like, hey,
keep it
yeah, I can make the
mysterious.
call if I want to make more characters, sure, or if I want to make Tekken 8, then I can, or maybe do Tekken Tag tournament again.
Yeah, yeah.
And
He's
it's just
basically like, listen, I can do whatever the fuck I want. So
exactly. He's
you
been doing it. It's been doing it like he's been doing so well right now for Namco Bandai with Tekken 7 that it's
Mhm.
just like, Harada, do whatever the fuck you feel like.
That's pretty much what I got from this interview. Is I can do whatever I want. Tekken 7, he might say Tekken 7 has gone on long enough, but
Mm,
I can still do whatever I want. So
exactly.
you guys are gonna buy it anyway. So fuck
You
it. All right. So
guys gonna enjoy it. We're gonna take another character from this television series. We're gonna have Jesse from Breaking Bad.
yeah,
He's gonna
exactly.
come out and throw drugs at his opponent or acid,
Yeah,
and then he will
exactly.
just shout, "Yeah, bitch!" when he wins the round.
Not gonna lie, that I would actually play Tekken 7 if they did that. I don't even like Tekken 7, but I would legit play it if they brought Jesse for Breaking Bad. So just so that when
Oh
I
man.
beat people, I can be like, "Yeah, bitch, let's go." Like that would be hype for me. All
Would
right,
you
so
like to have Would you like to have Tasty Steve when someone wins with Jesse, just like, yeah, bitch, in the
exactly.
background?
Yeah, that sounds good. All
Yeah,
right,
but it's cool.
so
See where it's
what
going
what
with Tekken. Yeah.
what else we got? We got Smash. What's going
Oh yeah.
on?
So
Masahiro Sakurai contemplates early retirement. Will work as long as he can, as society is built on entertainment. Society.
ah, where's
Oh,
Potemkin?
yeah, exactly.
So this was a very simple article. It was mostly just like Masahiro Sakurai has been thinking about taking an early retirement. However, he wants to work as long as he possibly can because he believes that society is built on entertainment, and he will still work and finish off this last season pass with Smash Brothers Ultimate. But what he does from there, it's just a question of what. Because he did have some moments where he actually passed out and actually had to be hospitalized during the development of the
from
DLC
overwork.
characters.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Japanese work even harder than the Americans do, from what I understand. Like it's in their
absolutely.
culture to do like 100-hour work weeks and stuff like that. So, you know,
Exactly.
as far as it's concerned, I do not play Smash, so you know, this news does not touch me, unfortunately.
Yeah. It's mostly just like it's technically we can still put it as fighting game content because some people are very insistent about it. I can
Yeah.
understand that. It's just like, well, technically characters fight each other and they try to defeat each other.
I mean,
All right.
Knockout City is kind of a fighting game too. I actually been
Yeah.
meaning to get into that as well. I'm going to be buying that game as well, and
Oh, cool.
if I do like it, we will do some tournaments on it. But yeah,
Yeah.
um, but
Support
yes,
Swedish game developers.
yeah. So like, I mean, but I will say this though that I have heard a lot of things about the way Nintendo treats their
Yeah.
grassroots community, and about the way that they treat Smash in general. They do not treat Smash. Nintendo
No.
itself does not treat Smash as a fighting game. They don't
Exactly.
support it. They don't. They treat it like it's still 1999, and this is
Yeah.
Super Smash Brothers 64
Yeah.
party game. When
Exactly.
there's literally like, and I have to say, if they were to support it, Smash would legitimately be CS:GO level big.
Oh yeah.
I
It can go to that
100%
level.
believe that. Yes, I 100%
Absolutely.
believe that because it's already huge. It's already the biggest fighting game.
Yeah.
If we accept the fact that it is, if we're just gonna accept the fact that Smash is a fighting game, which I'm willing to accept, and I have no problem like saying that because it
Mhm.
is. Like I've watched Smash tournaments. It's 100% a fighting game.
Oh
When you
yeah.
play it in that way. You know.
Exactly.
Um.
Because it really mostly builds on top of that idea that when you have these sort of things like in Melee, for instance, you have the wave dash thing,
Yep.
and you also have the platforms that actually supplies as a certain way to use them in certain ways. Then it becomes like very good approaches and defenses, meaning that it becomes very similar to a fighting game, meaning that, well, he's on this platform, I don't know what to do, I don't know how to react, I'll just try and approach, and then I get punished for it. It's just like,
Exactly.
oh well. So it's very interesting to see that. It's a shame that Nintendo is just like still lives in the past,
Yeah.
but it's awesome to see and hear from Sakurai himself. He actually did it during one of his presentation. I think he presented like frame data when he talked about Sephiroth. He was just like, oh well, this much in recovery and this stuff's advantage. You go minus this, and then he stops and says like, hold up, this is a party game, and that was just like, oh,
It's
mamma
like we
mia,
almost had him. We
yeah,
almost had him.
just like whoa.
This close. Yeah, but I
No,
mean, it's like I don't understand. Like they're literally just leaving money on the table.
yeah,
You know,
exactly.
like they're like if for a company, I know they're already making money hand over fist, but like as a corporation, don't you want to make more money?
Exactly. You don't have to do this scarcity type of tricks, meaning like we're only printing up 100 physical copies of this video game. We will take them off the shelves within a week, and it's just like, better hurry. It's just like, no, you don't do
Yeah,
that.
because like there was a time where I was planning on doing a Smash tournament on Slippy, and then I started hearing how Nintendo sent cease and desist to like
Oh
the
yeah,
biggest Smash TOs, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not even touching it. I am not
that's
touching that shit. I am
it's
not trying to get
radiation
my.
poisoning.
Yeah, I was like, yo, that is untouchable, bro. Because my
Yeah,
channel is not big enough. I mean, their channel had like hundreds of thousands of followers
yeah,
and shit, and I'm like, they're shutting them down. Like they literally got them shut down. You know,
Yeah.
like, and Nintendo will copyright strike you, try to get you banned and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, yeah, my channel is not big enough
Yeah.
to play that game. You know.
Certain things are not worth enough because when you see other players, it's just like they're doing it like under the radar on their personal streams, and it's just like if you can pull it off, go for it. Some of us don't want to be taking that risk, though.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, that's the news. I do hope Masahiro decides to take a break. Maybe we can get another game director to come in and actually, understand that the game is actually, there's a comment right here. His job is consistently being told he's made the greatest game, but will need to later make an even greater one, and somehow does it while also being told he fucks every choice he makes up, from DLC picks to move changes to fucking UI. Now his brand is synonymous with pedophilia. I'd retire too. Yikes.
Oh, man.
Yikes. Anyway, yeah, so, yeah, I mean, it's true. A lot of those Smash players, and that's another thing. A lot of those Smash players Anyway, Smash.
Maybe, as Daniel DeVito said it, they be diddling kids.
Yeah, y'all gotta get y'all shit together, bro.
Yeah, exactly. I think that is also the big problem.
Nintendo supports your game in the way that it needs to be supported as a fighting game. You literally have the biggest fighting game IP out of all of them, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Like it could literally be like the League of Legends style, like $1 million prize pools. I could see it. Like everyone can see it. It's like Smash players are huge on YouTube as well. Like millions of followers. They're like millionaires. Like just off YouTube. Like, I mean, come on. Like if they just supported it if they just supported it as a fighting game, it would be literally the biggest thing. Yeah, so anyway, moving on from that, I hope Masahiro, does take care of himself, though.
Yeah,
honestly. And,
I would, though, love to see a new Kid Icarus game that he had a development hand on, but because Kid Icarus on the 3DS, I heard it was amazing to certain people. I was just like, man, would be cool if I had it on my Switch. A quick port. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, you know what I mean?
Nice.
We'll see what will happen down the line.
All right, so let's move on to our KOF news. I don't know if you guys have been following King of Fighters, but the latest trailer did show a new stage, and I immediately picked up on this when I saw Team Grit, which is, I don't know if you guys know, I did play and did trials for most of the characters in KOF 13 a while ago, so, Leona, Clark, and the grappler guy, Ralph. I really like Ralph. Ralph is my kind of character, 100%.
Ralph was the type of character that you heard him, like the moment I heard his command grab, where he actually just picks him up and just goes, "Oh yeah," that was the moment. Just like, I love that character.
Oh no, that's Clark.
That's
Clark. Clark is the command. Clark is the grabber. Ralph is the striker. So it's literally the throw strike. It's literally throw strike split into two characters.
Exactly.
Like that's the great thing. And Leona is kind of the one in the middle who's a zoner. So that's literally the base archetype in one KOF team. You know what I mean? One KOF team, basically. You got throw, strike, zone. Throw, strike, zone, basically.
Exactly.
And
that's really cool to see that, though. It wasn't just a Team Ikari Warriors theme or the Great Grit fellas. It was also Blue Mary was also announced as a new character as well for KOF 15.
Yeah, I haven't watched that trailer yet, actually. I have not watched that trailer yet, but I do plan on watching it.
So for those who don't know, Blue Mary has had a few returns in the KOF series, but she actually originally came from the Real Bout Fatal Fury series, or was it just maybe Fatal Fury? She happens to be a good friend of Terry, and she was also a fan favorite along with Mai Shizune.
Yeah,
so it was cool to see.
So I would say this Metal Slug stage, I immediately recognized it when I saw it. I was like, oh, that's cool. Bringing the Metal Slug stage, that's cool. Nice.
And I really like that it was actually from Metal Slug 3, actually. It was just like you saw these crash planes and then you saw a Metal Slug tank in the background as well. I was just like, right, they really know how to get me going, because I enjoy Metal Slug. It's one of those games where I feel like I want to do a 1cc run on any of the games, and then it's just try my best to do that while doing it on a fight stick as well, because
Mhm.
using it on a controller, I feel like, yeah, it works, but kind of want to do it like real hard
Yeah,
style,
yeah,
like
the
with the arcade.
OG, yeah, the OG arcade way. Like Metal
Exactly.
Slug, let me tell you my lore. The Metal Slug is the game I would play when I got washed off Sam Show
Oh,
and Marvel, Marvel versus Capcom in the arcades
yeah,
back in the day. Cause
exactly.
cause like yo, people like the arcade culture. You guys say you guys want arcades back. I don't think you guys do, because like real talk, motherfuckers would
Yeah,
just wash you with the cheapest shit, and then they wouldn't tell you
yeah,
nothing. At least
exactly.
online, like people will tell you like, hey, you know, this is this and this is that or whatever. But
Yeah,
in the arcade days, they wouldn't tell you a goddamn thing. You just be sitting. They would literally just take your money all day,
yeah, yeah.
all day
That,
long. You would just be putting quarters in. They'd be like, oh, you want to go again?
yeah. At first, I mean,
GG's.
the only tutorial you do get is at the start when you press start. It's just after you pick your character. It's like,
Yep.
oh, you move left, you're right, and then you press
A
this
button
button
does
to
this,
jump,
B
and then
button.
you use
Yep.
this to fire. This one throws your grenades, you can crouch, and then it's like, all right, that's it, go.
Yeah, go in. And there was no like practice mode. You learned by playing back in the day.
Exactly.
So, you know, Metal Slug was the game that I played back in the day when I got washed off those other games. So and I had like a
It was
quarter left and I was like, "All right, I guess
yeah,
I'll just go play some Metal Slug then."
yeah, all right. And then you get washed by that. It's just like, oh, look, these amazing, nice looking graphics. And then the game is just like, you're not good at this game. You never will be
Yeah,
until you
exactly.
can purchase it digitally on Steam in the
And,
future.
and can we talk about the fact that these also like non-fighting game arcade games were extremely difficult?
They were, yeah.
They were hard. Like
Goodness sake, like when the bullet hell genre has to come from somewhere, and Duran Pachis comes out of
oof.
nowhere and says, hey, I got some cool ass soundtracks, some really cool stages, and some cool ships, and I'm difficult as shit. So the first level they lure you in, you're just like, oh, you're pretty
Oh
good,
yeah,
man. And
that's
then
good. Yeah, you
immediately,
started to feel
second
good about
level, they
yourself.
slam you with this bullet hell madness. It's just like,
Yeah.
oh,
And that was one of my memories from back in the day, because what it would be is I think every weekend I would go see my grandmother, and it was my grandmother who put me on the fighting games as a young kid. And like I said, from the age of me graduating high school to like me having my first kid, I was basically like running a business with my wife, so I didn't game that entire time because I was just working. You know.
yeah,
Um, but my childhood, you know, was mostly fighting games because my grandma would, you know, I would go with her, and every week she would take me to go see a movie, buy me a pizza, and then she would take me to the arcade, you know.
oh yeah.
And my grandma used to love Street Fighter, so she would literally be behind me, like, nah, man, don't let him do that. Jump over that fireball, you know.
Ah,
Like
you
I'm
know, I
talking about my
forget it.
grandma, by the way. She was like 60 years old, telling me how
Oh
to play
man,
fighting games. Like she
I
was
know, man.
actually pretty nice at Street Fighter. I'm not even gonna
Oh
cap.
yeah,
She was actually
that's true.
quite nice at Street Fighter. She had a stroke recently, so she's not
Ah,
playing anything. But
my condolences, dude.
but you know, before that, she was nice as fuck
Yeah,
at Street
I mean
Fighter
that's
2 Turbo.
that's a really cool. Yeah, that's really a cool thing when you have a sort of a grandmother or even in that senior level. It's just like, hey, I found this game. They're called Street Fighter 2. You can play as a Russian bear that can like break your neck,
Yep.
and you'll be like, what?
Funny story.
You say it's a video game.
My uncle came out of jail and he knew how to play Street Fighter 2 Turbo. And he was mad good at Dawson.
Oh damn,
Actually,
damn.
he was mad good at Dawson. So I would play against him. I would play Ryu and he would play Dawson, and he would just zone me the whole game. He said, "Yo, you got to get good. You got to get around those limbs, bro." He's like, "Yeah." So I mean, that was a thing. Like that was a thing
Yeah,
growing up. Like, and then I would go to the arcade and people would have a cup full of tokens, because what you would
oh, yeah,
do is you would exchange your money for the token, right?
yeah,
Or some arcades you just put the quarter in, but some
yeah,
had like specialized tokens that you
yeah.
change money for, and they would have like a big gulp 7-Eleven cup full of tokens, and
Oh,
yeah, and they would just sit on the cab, doom, and just play, you
yeah.
know.
Exactly. I
So
think I remember like this etiquette. I think there was an arcades actually when you just put your quarters on the screen, in the corner of the screen to tell your opponent like, "Hey, I want to play next," or "I want to
yeah,
play against you."
if there was a line,
Yeah,
that's a thing. Yeah, I think they do that in Japan, but I know I grew up in Washington D.C. and Maryland, so Mostly, it was just we would just stand behind the person that we thought was
Yeah.
gonna lose. So
Oh yeah.
that was
The
pretty much
legend.
it. Yeah. So we
Yeah,
we
the
would look at the
local
game.
local. Yeah.
Yeah, we would just look at the game, and then we would just be like, "Oh, you're gonna lose, so let me just stand next to you to show that I got next." So that's pretty much it. That's what we
Oh
did
man.
mostly. But yeah, so anyway, KOF. I wasn't really excited for KOF, but I am planning on buying it. KOF, by the way, for those who don't know, is an extreme execution heavy game, and you have to know how to play 3 characters at a high level because
Yeah,
it's not tag team. It's a team fighter, but it's not tag team. It's 1-on-1.
exactly.
But each round is a different character. So, like for example, if you lose, then your next character comes up, and whoever wins is whoever beats the other person's, whoever beats all 3 of the other person's characters, basically. So,
Oh yeah.
um, KOF is definitely a really big game, like in South America and China,
Oh yeah.
Japan. It hasn't really taken off in the US and the West that much, and in EU.
No, no.
But I'm pretty sure
It's
KOF 15, if it has good netcode, will definitely be played quite a bit.
absolutely.
You know.
I think so too as well because it seems like they're actually trying to approach a bigger market right now, and I
Mhm.
think they also added in singles as a mode as well. It's just like just pick one character. That's it. 2 rounds. That's it.
Yeah, but KOF singles though, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like that,
Kind of
nah.
limits it a little bit, but again, it's just one of those things. Like if you can do if you want to do singles, no
I mean,
problem.
if you want to
If you
do
want to do,
singles, that's
yeah,
totally fine. I do
exactly.
like the fact that they have a mode for people who don't. I think the team mode is definitely the try hard mode. Like I would definitely have like a casual or even a ranked singles mode, but ranked singles I would probably just use for practice for for
Yeah.
team. My personal team for KOF is the girls team, King,
Oh,
May, and Yuri.
oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, King, May, Yuri, that's my team. So for those who don't know, Yuri is basically the Akuma of this game. She's like Sakura. She literally looks like Sakura. I think Sakura is based off Yuri, but she plays like or I think Yuri is based off Sakura, but she plays like Akuma. So for those who don't know, like Dan is a parody of SNK games. That's why he has an
Yeah.
infinite and all those crazy like cancel combos in Street Fighter 5 and shit.
Yeah.
That's why he has all that stuff because in KOF you literally do combos like that. Those are whole.
Yeah.
You could literally do infinites like that in KOF. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I think Yuri is a parody of Street Fighter, where
Yeah.
basically it's like the little school girl who's like fucking S tier as fuck,
Oh yeah. Like they also make a big deal out of just like man, her brother just being like, "You shouldn't be here. You should go home." And she's just like, "Ah, big brother, let me fight."
Yeah, but she's busted, bro. She is
Exactly.
completely busted. She is out of control. She is literally a Kuma. She's got a demon flip. She's got she's got DP. She's got
Yeah.
fireballs. She's got like I think 4 or 5 options off her demon flip. She's got infinites. I don't know if you guys remember on my YouTube channel, I have a video of me labbing Yuri's like her number 8
Yeah.
combo, and I still haven't gotten it. That combo's hard AF. Like
Those things are difficult. Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, in May or Mai or whatever, she's also pretty good. She's kind of like a
Mm.
beginner character though. But
Oh yeah.
and King is like super good. King is like the Chun Li zoner of the game.
Oh
Like
yeah. Yeah.
legs, kicks, fireballs, things like that. She's kind of like Chun Li mixed with a little bit of Ryu because she's
Yeah.
got the fireball game plan, but then when you get close, she also has like the kicks, the space shoe, and
Yeah.
the spacing and stuff like that. The neutral, like a really good neutral character.
Mhm.
I Mai is good because Mai is good because she's kind of like easy to play. She's like actually one of the easier characters in the game to play. Her
Oh
combos
yeah.
are mad easy.
She's one of the more beginner friendly ones I've heard.
Yeah. So I would say like my team would be Mai going first just to build meter. And also she doesn't need meter to do damage either.
Yeah.
So that's a good
Yeah.
thing. Like so you could just have her go out first to build meter.
Yeah.
And then you would have King go out second, and then Yuri is like your clutch. That's like your
Yeah.
your character you just cash out. Because if you got
Oh
enough
yeah.
meter with Yuri, you can literally TOD. You know.
Oh yeah. It's really crazy.
So
I
yeah.
think I think I actually played a little bit with, and I think I had a team as well. I mostly experimented around in 13 and in 14, but I think like that if I were to make a team, I would mostly pick Kyo
Ooh, I love
Um,
Kyo. Kyo's
yeah,
a homie. Kyo, I love his
I
combos.
yeah. Surprisingly, I also took like the alternate Kyo in 13,
Hmm.
in 13 because I felt like this was much better because I didn't care about the projectile. I just wanted to get glow in and personal and also have that really cool
Hmm.
Rekkas that he had,
Do you,
starting
do
with
you like
Corsair
K?
4 Refund.
Do you like K at
Uh,
all?
I looked at K, but I felt like this doesn't click for
Oh,
him.
I like K. I
So
like K quite a
yeah,
bit.
K is a cool looking character, but I felt like yeah, it doesn't click. And
Hmm.
the other two characters was Clark and Raiden because I felt
Hey,
like Raiden was a big boy, and I was just like,
wait a minute.
yeah,
You play Raiden?
I played Raiden because
Raiden?
it was
Hold up. All
yeah.
right, hold on. You play. All right. I need to just confirm this. You play Raiden? Cause
I picked up Raiden, and I felt like if I have to have put him in a team, if I have to have a person in my team, I would pick him because I really like the sort of build up to combos and then finish off with a grab.
well, I'm gonna let you guys know why I'm like tripping about Raiden. He is he in a game where everyone is somewhat difficult to play. He is extremely difficult to play, and
Oh yeah, he is
he's really good actually. He's like super good if you could play him, but
exactly.
his buttons like you got to hold down for 20
Yeah,
frames and like you got to be very precise. Like you literally like his combos aren't charged. Like he has charge moves and then he has charge button moves. So like
oh
he has to do a charge and then at the
yeah,
same time he needs to hold a button down for a certain amount of
exactly.
frames because you need to hit it at that like you need to hit it with that strength to continue the combo.
And handle
Right?
like the negative edge of sorts. And I
Yeah,
feel like this,
exactly.
for some reason, played well for me, like for this particular situation. But then I felt like there's trickery that has to be done, but I felt like this was fun learning and understanding because that was my
Hmm.
actual first encounter with negative edge and shard back, for instance.
Oh yeah, I tried to play right, and I tried those trials where I didn't even
Mm.
make it past one. I was like, yo,
Oh,
I'm good, I'm good. I was like,
we're done. We're
I was
done
like,
it
I'm
for
good.
today, chat.
I was like, I'm good on this.
Yeah,
Let me pick it. I'm not a fan of charge characters, honestly. I
I
have
know.
never liked charge characters all the way back into fucking Super Turbo, Street Fighter Alpha. You know, way back in the
Boxer just
day.
coming out of nowhere. It's just like, how do I do these really cool smacks that he's doing? It's like, oh, you have to hold back.
Yeah, I'm like,
Ah.
nah. See, I don't know if you guys noticed from my gameplay. I like moving forward. I'm not like as much as I talk about like neutral and I like to play neutral. I play neutral to move forward.
Yeah. Oh man. I mean,
I play neutral to be aggro AF. Like sitting and
yeah, yeah.
charging is so like counterintuitive to everything that I want to do.
Oh
You
yeah.
know,
It's
like
pretty. It's pretty. So you're taking the Ryu and the Guile versus Ryu set, so to
yes,
say,
yeah,
which was actually a fun thing to see. I think someone presented that in their video. I think it was Korea Gaming
hmm
that talk about that sort of stuff. It's just like you have two kind of projectiles. One you can just spam as much as you like as long as you do the input correctly. The other one has a cooldown because you have to chart. You just need to hold back in order to do
yeah.
them. However,
Guile
you
is
also
about
have
like
like,
holding and maintaining space. Like Ryu kind of uses Fireball to get space. So that's
oh
kind
yeah,
of like part of the reason I like playing Kage or Ryu or whatever in Street Fighter because like I use the Fireball to get in. Like
yeah,
I don't just use the Fireball just for the sake of using the Fireball. Like that's what a Guile or a
exactly.
charge character would do.
Mm.
A charge character uses the Fireball as the move itself. You know,
Yeah,
like that
it
is the
kind of
move. You know.
yeah, exactly. It kind of also goes to the idea like Ryu goes more on the offense, meaning that
Hmm.
after I throw a higher ball, I can then jump into the air and trying to approach overhead.
Yeah, or he could
Meanwhile, a
dash
Guile can
or
mostly just like throw out a projectile, but then if he sees Ryu approach him, he can just do a flash kick in
yeah, it's
return.
a more defensive play
Exactly.
style,
So it
definitely.
mostly just goes like the offense versus defense type of situation.
Exactly, and I like to press W, so
Yeah,
I like to press
true that.
W key, so you know
Yeah,
that's my
exactly. True
life.
that. True that.
So I've never been a fan of charge. I mean, I can see the value in it. Definitely, it's a different
Yeah,
type of play style, but you know, for me personally, I just need to go. I just need to
yeah.
I just need to go at you,
And
bro.
you might be surprised to hear that one of the characters in those fighting herds is actually just like extremely offensive, yet she has charge attacks. And I
Really?
was just like, how? And then it's just like, oh, you can hold it as your character is doing another type of sequence of attacks. It's fine. And
Oh,
then you're just like, oh,
okay.
okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's
Like
interesting to
May
see that
May
as
is
well.
an example of an aggro charge character, right?
Absolutely.
Like because you can like Street Fighter, like you have to charge before you do your action. So that's the reason why you see a lot of people like, walk up, crouch, because they can't like do buttons and charge as they're doing it. They have to charge first and then do their block string or whatever. But in Guilty Gear, you can just charge whenever. So like May players will just be running at you like disaster, passion, yeah.
Your assessor just don't Sasaki.
Exactly.
It's just like, can you stop?
Yeah, exactly. So like that's what it is. So anyway, that's our KOF news. What other news we got here?
We had back into Strive again.
Well, we could talk about this. Well, yeah, back in the Strive, we did forget to talk about the mission mode.
Exactly.
Explaining in Strive the higher level mechanics.
Exactly. Which. Yeah, so long story short, the entire article in short, they must have talked about from the interview from the Red Bull Kumite that happened a few weekends back, where they had these really amazing players actually duke it out with each other so that we could get an even better understanding with like, how the heck can I play Faust? And he's like, oh, okay, just go bonkers, run in and do whatever you can.
Well, one thing that I found interesting that people didn't seem to understand is that Guilty Gear has always had mission mode that taught you the very high level. That's how I learned how to play Guilty Gear. I did all the mission mode. I did all the missions.
Absolutely.
And I learned how to do OTG into throwing the recovery of the tech. Like if they tech after you OTG and then you throw it, I learned that from the mission. Like all the high level stuff they teach you in the mission mode. So obviously they're gonna have mission mode in Strive.
Yeah.
So people are like, the tutorial is bad. But it's mission mode, bro. Like the tutorial is not where you learn how to play Guilty Gear. It's always been the mission mode.
Exactly. Here's the thing: like when you have tutorial mode and mission mode, I think that's a good way to separate them.
Yes.
Because tutorial mode is just like, how the fuck do I play this video game?
Yes. Tutorial mode is for people who don't play fighting games.
Yeah.
Tutorial mode is for people who don't play fighting games. Period.
It's just like borderline. Just put a control in front of your friend who has never touched a controller before, and he's just like, oh, how do I play this again? And he's just like, oh, you follow the tutorial, and then he's just like, oh, okay, I see. That was the reason the tutorial in Revelator was really good. It was just like very basic, just like, oh, you can run, you can jump, you can do these things.
And when I didn't know how to play Guilty Gear, I did the regular tutorial first, and it did definitely help me understand the movement quite a bit.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, so you could do this, and they have you jump and hit stuff so that you understand like the range of your buttons and stuff like that. So I like the fact that they separate, because like Mortal Kombat does have a great tutorial, but they put everything in one menu. Yeah. So like they have a beginner menu, and then right under they have advanced menu, and it's really daunting because then once you finish the beginner menu, it's like, oh, now I got to do the advanced menu and then the character specific menu, and it's all on one screen. But Guilty Gear, they separate it, right? So that way you learn at your own pace. So like they do the regular tutorial, which teaches you the very basics, and then it tells you, hey, you want to learn more? Go to missions whenever you're ready. And then you play a little bit, and then you say, you know what, let me check out those missions. And then you start doing missions. And then it's like, oh, I see now. And I think that's a much better way of going about it. It's definitely a way of easy onloading people and not hitting people with this huge info dump.
Exactly.
So with all that being said, I don't know why people were tripping about the tutorial and Strive. Like, it's always been like that in every Arceus game. I don't understand why people didn't. I think people, and this goes back to what I said, people who complain about Strive are people who've either never played Guilty Gear or they have played Guilty Gear but didn't play Strive.
Exactly.
That's what I'm thinking, because like, how could you complain about the practice mode if you've played Guilty Gear before?
Yeah. I think that it's just because, like, I mean, here's a feature that you got for free along with your price. It's just like, why are you complaining? This will help you a whole lot if you have a difficult time explaining how to play a fighting game to a friend who's never touched a controller before.
Well, even outside of that, it's kind of like, but we know that Arceus push mission modes in literally every game that they do. That explain all the. If you played Guilty Gear, you should know that. Or if you did play Guilty Gear, that means you never did the mission modes.
Exactly. So when people complain, it's just like, why is that thing he does cause me to become slower? It's just like, oh, he did a Roma cancel. It's like, what's that? Oh, check out mission mode. You can learn more there.
There you go.
Then it's just like, oh. Because when you think about tutorials in general, like I think Them's Fighting Heroes was considered a good example as well, where they had a character actually talk to them and says like, "Oh, here's this thing, here's that thing."
Fighting
and
Heroes
then
has a really good tutorial. I did the whole thing, and it's super good. I definitely agree with that. Skull. I mean, a lot of fighting games have good tutorials. Actually,
I think so too. Some games that doesn't have it, it's just like it's so easy to pick up and play. It's just like, don't worry about it. Just smash if you like. Talk with the community. That's when things can get a little bit tricky. But as long as the game can present itself, it's just like this is what you need to know, like on a good basis to understand everything.
Awesome. All right. Well, is there anything else you want to talk about? Do we want to talk about anything else like freehand before we go, or is there any other topic you want to bring up?
There is one. I was thinking maybe we can also pick questions from people if they had anything from chat. Otherwise, I do have this little discussion topic we can talk about.
Oh, let's do it. Well, let's do the discussion topic, and then we can do a Q&A.
Sure. So this was something that I wrote yesterday, like last Friday after we finished streaming the YRC weekend. This was something that I thought about a little bit. Since there might be a drought of fighting games to be released, minus Strive and Virtua Fighter 5, what fighting games should be worth getting into for the moment, maybe for people?
That's
just
one.
Like,
well, actually, that's not true. There's actually about to be a glut of fighting games. I mean, because we also got Melty Blood coming out this year.
Absolutely.
We got KOF. We got Strive. We got Dungeon Fighter Duel, which is probably coming out as well. That got announced. But a game's worth checking out. That's a good question.
Exactly.
Because when you play a fighting game, let's be real, it's an investment.
Exactly. Not just money, it's time as well, because you need to put more. You need to put time into to understand things and pull it off flawlessly, either on a keyboard just go there, or use the controller that you have, or if you want to go even further with your investment, just buy a stick.
Exactly.
Because then it's just like, not only is it like understanding the game and understanding the mechanics and core, it's also like using a stick itself. It can take a while for you.
Well, a fight stick is an investment, because that means you're going to be playing fighting games. Like that's that's like, if you buy a stick, like I told my wife, I was like, I'm buying a fighting stick because I know I'm going to be playing fighting games for, like I need a controller that's not going to break under hundreds and thousands of hours of use.
Exactly. So you need something that is a good quality for that.
Exactly. So, fighting games are an investment. So now that leads to the question: which one of these games, if you could invest in one game to be legitimately good at, what is the game you will want to invest your time in? And the game that I'm definitely interested, like I'm going to play a little bit of everything. We know Street Fighter 6 is also coming out next year as well. But the game that I really truly want to invest my time in right now is Strive, honestly. Like, I like playing the game. That's a big part of it. Like, a lot of games I've been playing as a streamer I didn't like. I played them either for views, because like when I was doing Mortal Kombat, I was getting like 100 views a day. When I was playing Siege, I was getting views. Like sometimes I play stuff for views, but Guilty Gear, like you notice, like my views have been like so for Guilty Gear outside of the tournaments, but I play that for like 8, 9, 10 hours, because it's just fun. It's legitimately fun, and for me, I'm just talking about for me now. The game, I'm not talking about for you guys. I'm not trying to sell you guys on it. For me personally, I find it extremely fun. I find Street Fighter slightly less fun. I can't grind Street Fighter for 8 hours though. I can grind Street Fighter for like 2-3 hours, but Guilty Gear, I could play that literally almost nonstop. Like if I didn't have to sleep, I would go full fucking otaku for Guilty Gear. If I didn't have a wife and kids already, I would go full incel weeb gamer. Let my beard grow, just sit here, know all the tech. Like, did you know that Kai could save jump super install?
Miss Queen Meta would be like, honey, what are you talking about? I asked if you like some dinner. It's just like, did you know that my burst is very powerful? It's just like, what are you talking about? It's
like that meme of like people at the party and me just standing on the side. They don't know that Kai can super jump and stall after Lightning Orb and Plus R. What I mean? That's how I feel about Guilty Gear right now, right? That's legit how I feel about Guilty Gear.
I
And
think I can agree. I can see and understand that viewpoint as well because it's
Mhm.
one of those things that you want to pick up. It's just like the game that you can lock you in and just be
Yeah.
like, okay, just one more game, one more game,
Yeah.
one
One
more
more
game,
game. 10 hours later, one more. Run it back.
and then you realize like, wait, why am I hungry?
Yeah, exactly. No,
I
like
just played. I
so
just play like
that's
what 3 matches.
yeah. So for me personally, that's Guilty Gear. I can see myself supporting and doing tournaments for Virtua Fighter, Melty Blood, the new Melty Blood coming out, KOF.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
don't think these are games I'm gonna like grind past. I would say the first 100 hours of me learning enough to commentate, playing
Yeah.
casually so that I can know what I'm talking about and not sound like a fucking scrub when I'm commentating. But the game that I would play myself, it
Yeah.
would definitely be Guilty Gear. I mean, I'm already grinding 8+ hours a day on Plus R.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
just wait for Strive to come out, bro. Like it's going down.
Yeah.
You know.
It's gonna be interesting streaming times as well during that hours, and that was I would say for me that I would also go with Strive right now because it's one of those things. It's just like okay, I think I have taken my tour finished with the
Mhm.
whole Exert series. Like I've gone up like to what 500 hours on that total,
Oh, nice.
and for me, after playing and understanding them's fighting hers right now, it kind of goes to this. It's kind of how I see it two views actually.
Mhm.
The community is kind of the things that also builds and causes the game to last as well.
Mhm.
I see a lot of good players and I see very good new beginners, which I sadly have to beat because otherwise I'm going to have to tell you, is this character and play as have these approaches? You need to learn how to block them
Mhm.
and how to counter them, which is hard, but it's one of those things. Just like either I will teach you either with words or by
Or
actually giving you a
action. Yeah.
demonstration.
Yeah, action is
And
better because you could tell like that
exactly,
that happened with me in Street Fighter when I tried to tell some people things that hey, this doesn't work, this doesn't work. But then, like they would beat me and they'd be like, "Well, you said it doesn't work, but I beat you." And it's like, "Well, it's because
yeah,
I was actually going easy on you." Now, next
yeah,
round,
yeah, exactly. Like you,
I'm gonna prove to you why it doesn't work. And the next round,
yeah,
it would literally be like completely free. And
exactly,
and then they would be like, "Oh, I see what you mean now." So people understand action in fighting games more than words. Like you could tell people
yeah,
things, but you definitely got to show them. You know.
exactly. And that's the reason why a lot of people that I take tips from are just like they could beat me in this game, no problem. And so when they're like sitting in the back of the tournament, they're like, "Hey, Pont, do this." I was like, "Oh, okay, why?" It's like it'll do more damage that way. Okay, how about quicker approach? It's just like, "Oh, okay."
So is
Because
fighting hers the game that you're like definitely interested in grinding? Is it Strive? Like,
um,
what's your
I have
game that you
I would
plan on
pick
investing in?
Strive as well because if we go back to them fighting Hearts right now, the community there is just like you have really good players that just
Hmm.
do the same thing over and over again, and then you have these new up and learning begin players who are just like they either will continue or they will just stop playing after 10 losses and then uninstall and then leave a negative review on the Steam account or the Steam store page. It's just like this game is stupid. There's too many tryhard sweatlords over here. It's just like yeah, man, that's because you need to become one yourself.
Well, see, the thing about fighting hers is that the community is so small that
Yeah,
either and that's how new players bounce off the game, right? That's
yeah,
literally what Daisuke and Arxis and all these other developers are trying to avoid is the fact that they want people to be able to get into the game, be able to get wins so that they don't bounce off when they come up against, Sweat Lord Kai
oh yeah.
Kisuke over here, which is me. No life in the game, hitting them with, RC mix ups and shit.
Yeah,
I mean they don't
and then
bounce off the game.
exactly, and then he still ends up getting the L because that Faust player just out of nowhere just dusted him into the wall and then did an IK finish.
Exactly. Oh, speaking of that, will Strive have insta kills? There
I'm
was
not
no
sure.
there was no stun. It seems like they
No,
added stagger
yeah,
in this latest beta, but there was no dizzy. I
we'll
don't know.
see when they release the game. Maybe they just like put it by the side, but it could be also the same thing with those missing features that you talked about from that interview. It's just like they will mostly add it later, maybe,
Yeah, they probably
or
don't want like fucking toxic tryhards hitting people with the dizzy IK combos.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
that
We'll see.
will definitely bounce motherfuckers off the game.
Oh yeah, that's
well,
gonna cause a lot of bouncing. But since Arxis has actually established a very good name for themselves,
mhm.
and with those open betas that people could like, oh man, this was really fun. I've never heard of this before. Then
Yeah.
they would be like, we got more players now because that was a good way to approach it. Especially, I'm just gonna say this: that open beta they did was just like anyone can join and hop in and play online. You
Yeah,
don't
that
even
was
need a
great.
PS Plus account.
I would
It's
hope that
completely
it's
free.
I would hope that it's the same when the game come out, that you don't need PS Plus to play. Like that would be great.
I
And the
hope for
fact
that
that
as well.
Sony owns Evo, it seems like they're making a big investment in the fighting games. I really hope they keep it that way. That like for
Yeah,
most of their fighting games, you don't need PS Plus to play online. That would be
yeah,
great. Um,
exactly.
so yeah, so my game is Strive. Your game is Strive. Chad, you guys
Yeah.
take, and for future YouTube viewers, you guys take a second to think. What game do you plan on really going hard in? Make sure you post that in the YouTube comments as well. Um, like I said, and it has to be a game that you legitimately have fun playing. Like you could play Street Fighter because there's a lot of money in Street Fighter if you want to like try hard and get good at Street Fighter. There's a Street Fighter
Mm,
has some of the highest prize pools out there. Tekken as well, but
mm,
you got to play a game that you like playing,
exactly. I think that is a
um
good way to see it as well, because you can either go two directions. You can either be like the many Asian teams and League of Legends and Dota 2 is just like, I'm not here to have a good time.
I'm
I'm
here,
just
this is a
here to
job.
win.
Yeah, this is a
And
job for them. Yeah.
and this goes to how DJ Jipes said it once day. If you play to win, you're gonna have a bad time. If you play to have
Hmm.
fun, you're gonna have a good. You're gonna get that.
Yeah, you're gonna have a good time. You're
Something
gonna
in
have
that
fun,
still.
and that's how
Yeah,
I felt during the Strive beta. Like even when I lost against stuff, I was still having fun. Even when I
exactly.
lose in Plus R, you guys hear me say, "Oh, that's bullshit. This guy's fucking mashing." I'm actually having a good time.
Oh yeah,
Like, like, because if I was having a good time, I wouldn't be saying anything. I would just go like,
yeah,
people know, like from my MK streams, when I wasn't having a good time, I would legit just go dead inside. I just wouldn't say anything. I would
mm,
just be like, "Oh, whatever," like
yeah, exactly.
it's like whatever. But when I'm
Yeah.
animated, that's when I'm definitely having a very good time.
Oh
So
yeah, because it's really one of those things. Like even if you lose and you still feel like that was fun, that's when the game holds you well. It's just
yeah,
like, yeah, you lost, but man, you had a good time.
exactly. Now he laughs when he gets slaughtered. Exactly. Yeah, when I get destroyed, I'm laughing. I'm like, oh my god, I got destroyed, bro. Yikes. But yeah, so yeah, so I would say now we're Q&A territory. What? All right, chat. If you guys got questions, hook it up.
Go
This
shoot
is
him up.
this is our Q&A section. If anyone in the Twitch chat has any questions for us this week on our podcast, this is our first FGC POGCAST, by the way. So it's the first one we're doing. Will you host a tournament for Virtua Fighter 5 when it comes out? Definitely, yes. Maybe not as soon as it comes out because I need to take time to learn the game, but
Well,
yes, I will definitely do tournaments for it when it comes out.
I think it's a good idea to actually do a few tournaments as well, so that you can invite more players into the game as well. So when more players, yeah, so when they get interested in it and just like, oh man, this looks more fun than all these other titles, then they will mostly feel more happy to just pick it up as well.
Yeah, and it's just a good
As
way
well
to
as when it
reach
comes on
into
PC as
another.
well.
Yeah, it's just a way to reach into another community. Bring people into the Discord. Vermeer says, "Will you do other tourneys for Strive except the Strive Weekly or the Strive Major?" I do plan on doing PC Fight Nights for Strive, but like, there's going to be so many tournaments on the channel that I'm trying to think of the best way to organize it. I'm thinking maybe I might do NLBC style, like Team Spooky style, where they have multiple tournaments in one day.
Oh yeah,
So that's kind of what I'm thinking right now, is that we do multiple tournaments in one day. So like maybe Saturday morning we do like an EU only tournament or something. Saturday afternoon we do something, and then Saturday night we end with Strive.
yeah,
So yeah, definitely plan on doing peace because the Strive majors on PlayStation, because I know the majority of the player base in the beginning of the game will be on PlayStation, as it always is. I do know that the tryhard community will move to the PC side. So as usual, I will always be doing the PC fight nights for Guilty Gear Strive, always.
yeah.
On Saturdays as well, or Sundays. I need to figure out what day I'm going to do it, but we're going to do PC fight nights for Strive as well. So a lot of Strive tournaments coming up.
Oh yeah,
Um,
totally.
yeah, what do you think will happen with crossplay, knowing that Sony keeps pushing back on that, and now they own Evo? Oh yeah, crossplay's dead, bro. Fuck that shit. Yeah, Sony
Yeah,
owns Evo. They want y'all. They want all F fighting games on PlayStation. That's going to be the main platform for everything. If you play PC, PC's always going to be a smaller, more tighter knit community. Everything is moving towards PlayStation. They want to sell more PS5s. Yeah, that shit's dead. Yeah, so they don't need to do crossplay. They teased it this console generation, but once the PS5 started selling out because of the scalpers and stuff, and the value of PS5s has gone through the roof. The fact that they also now own Evo, and if you really want to play fighting games, you just got to do it on the PS5. I can't. I would have a PS5 right now if I could actually find one. Like I can't even get one.
Oh yeah.
Like
it's crazy how you see people. It's just like, oh, I picked up a PlayStation 5. Like, how did you get it? Oh, I saw it from a guy who wanted this much. It's just like, dude, you paid like twice the amount and an ordinary price.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. I mean, the thing is $400. I'm trying to pay $400. Yeah. I'm not trying to pay like 1,000 for a PS5. So
it's crazy.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Like 1,000 euros on top of that. Like a PS4 is like I think like 400 euros. I mean, PS5 is like 400 euros. Actually, it might even be worth it just to get a PS4 Pro at this point.
Exactly, it might be better for that, and you just buy it pre-owned by someone who's just like, yeah, I'm trying to save money so I can buy a PS5 from a scalper. Would you like to buy my PS4 Pro? It's just like, all right.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, any other questions, guys? Any other questions? You have a Pro as well. I just have a regular PS4, and you can definitely see the fact that the graphics look like, even with Strive, I can 100% see that graphics look much worse on PS4. It's playable, but it doesn't look nearly as good as it should look, or it does look on PS5, as crispy as it could look. Meta, you do anything for Third Strike? I am very interested in doing a Third Strike tournament. I'm definitely interested. We got Fightcade. I play Third Strike here and there. I'm definitely interested in doing something for Third Strike.
It would be some cool stuff to see if we can test that as well. Or rather, just try and do a 1st to 7 type of situation as well. It's just like, hey, if we have like these many players who want to do a 1st to 7, that would be nice.
Who do I mean on Third Strike? Who do you think, bro? Were you not listening, bro? Were you not listening? I mean, Ryu. I'm a Ryu main. What we could do is, I like the idea that Pont said, 1st to 5s, 1st to 10 nights. Mm-hmm. We do Fightcade night where we get that way, because the problem with Fightcade is that it's kind of hard to sometimes find enough players to do a worthwhile tournament. So maybe instead of trying to do a tournament, I could just tap players and say, hey, you guys play Third Strike, want to do a 1st to 10? Like, we used to do that with Mortal Kombat, like 1st to 10 Fridays or something like that.
Yeah.
Where, like, we would do, like, 1st to 10s between, like, 2 or 3 people. And that's, like, 2 hours, 3 hours if it goes the distance, So that's good content right there. So.
Absolutely.
So we could do definitely 1st to 10 Fightcade day. I'll pick a day for that. We'll figure it out. And then we could do Sam Show. We could do Street Fighter, Third Strike, Alpha 3, OG Mortal Kombat. We could just do 1st to 10s on Fightcade. That way we only need to find 2 to 4 players for that instead of like 8, 20 players. And
exactly. And then you can still get like a few hours of quality content as well. It's just like see what kind of surprises and so on. And then explore other characters as well. Yeah, and then also look at Jackie Chan's in Fist of Fire.
And guess what? We could also do fucking fighting herds for that too. As well.
That's true.
We could do fighting herds for that. We could do Melty Blood for that. We could do so many games that I've not had time to do for that.
Exactly.
Yeah, we could definitely.
When the controller issue gets fixed for you on those fighting herds.
I don't know what the fuck that shit's about. So for those who don't know, fighting herds for me, I literally unplug all my peripherals, and it is literally seeing some controller that's not there. And it's just like popping up menus. It's literally like Ghost application. Like my fighting herds is cursed. I really want to play fighting herds. Like I really legitimately do. I can't even lab the game without the game tripping.
Yeah.
You guys use Melty Blood on Seacaster? Yes, I have Melty Blood on Seacaster. So yeah, that's how we will run it.
Yeah.
So yeah, other than that, that's about it. Does anyone else have any other questions before we go? And I might come back and do another stream, maybe plus R, maybe something else, or actually maybe not. I think I have to. I gotta upload a lot of YouTube stuff. I gotta also do the schedule for June, because June is like tomorrow.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, Ramir's had a video request, by the way.
Keck WHD, by the way. Actually, what we could do is I could do a small like Rev 2 lobby if you're down, Ponteronten.
I actually have to go out and get some stuff done. We celebrated this Sunday actually with Mother's Day, so I'm actually
Oh,
gonna hang out with
nice.
my mom
Well, I
and
need to get some
also
of that.
make a really interesting Greek buffet. For some
Hey.
reason, I got interested in Greek stuff. Like I
Mm.
even went beyond just like download a Duolingo and say start an account and say what would you like to learn Greek? I was just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, you just
And
had
then I
that
started just
flash of
picking up and learning.
inspiration. You just had that flash of inspiration. Anyway, all right.
Yeah,
Well, then I guess that's it. I'm probably gonna do a short stream, and then I need to get the content schedule together for June. Thank you guys for watching the first ever podcast. I'm gonna try to get this up on Spotify as well. So, and everywhere there are podcasts, but we're gonna figure that out. So, but in the meantime, it will be on the
absolutely.
YouTube. So, hope you guys liked it. If you missed any part of it, you can watch the whole thing on the YouTube channel. And we're going to try to do this every Sunday. I would say from 9 to like 11 or 10:30. This was like, what, an hour and a
Yeah.
half, I believe.
Yeah, I think that's a good quality. We can mostly play around with the program a little bit as well and see what we can do from there.
Yeah, and I'll try to see if I can get some interviews. I'm
Yeah,
slightly connected in the FGC. See if we can get some interviews going.
that would
Anyway,
work.
thanks, Ponteronten, as usual.
Thank
Always
you.
coming through, always on time, always great co-host.
Thank you. That's very nice, man. Thanks for inviting me, dude.
Awesome. All right, see you guys a little bit. I'm going to stop the stream, come back, restart it for either Plus R or Rev, either one. All right, guys.
Mm.
Peace.
Hey, see ya.